Okay, so for this segment, we're going to cover how to use the custom SmartPost feature to post your inventory quickly with SmartPost, but also staying in control of where your capsules go. So the first thing you'll do is go to Listings, click on SmartPost, and that's going to take you to the SmartPost page. You'll want to select the group that you want to post to in the drop-down menu, and then the next thing will be to click on the Custom tab. There are two very important components to the custom SmartPost feature. The first one is filters, and the second one is album name template. The filters are what give you control. If you don't choose any filters, SmartPost Custom will simply use all of your inventory, so it's really quite a bit like using regular SmartPost. So the filters are really there to make this custom experience of what you want SmartPost to put on Facebook for you. There's an include and an exclude option for each of the attributes that you would select. There's also a little question mark here that gives you more information. You have available to you all of the attributes that you've used to define your items. So I'm going to start with, I want to take and post my inventory to all the regular albums in my group, and I've made special albums for the Halloween stuff, so I actually do not want it to post. I'm going to exclude everything Halloween from my post. And let's see, I think that's the only filter I need. All my Halloween stuff is labeled Halloween. And so I'm just going to go ahead and leave that as my filter. And the next thing that's important is your album name template. This is used, here, let me click that real quick. It's used to define how you want Facebook to name your albums, but it is also used how you want to define how you want SmartPost to look for albums to match your inventory. And so the way that you determine that is you go to your group that you're going to post to, and you look at the albums and see if you can find a pattern that you can put into basically a formula for the album template. In this group where I'm going to post, I have a style name, and then I use a vertical bar. You can see on this Cassie. Cassie is the style name, vertical bar, and then the price. And so that's pretty consistent, Gracie, vertical bar, price. All of my regular style albums show style name, vertical bar, price. And so I'm actually going to go ahead and type that in as my album template. You have the option to use style, size, and price in addition to every other attribute you've added. You have all of those available to you as well. So I'll hide that again so I can just see what I'm doing here better. I'm going to use squiggly brackets. I'm going to type in style, and then I'm going to type in that vertical bar, and I'm going to type in price with squiggly brackets around it. And then compute albums. By doing this, it just really helps SmartPost figure out where everything belongs. So one thing I'd love to show you real quick is just the difference. This is something you should experiment with and kind of get to know, get a feel for it, how the logic works of include and exclude here. So here I have all green. It's generated a name based on the template. And then in the cases where the name generated by the template matches an album, it's pretty accurate putting it together for you. These are all green. Sometimes leggings aren't. Looks like I named my leggings albums pretty well too. So that all worked out really well. And then of course the other really cool thing is you can preview and see for sure what it is that is going to go into that album before you post it. I love that about the custom SmartPost. So if I wanted to just really quick show you, if I go ahead and X out this filter and try computing the albums again, you'll see that it ends up a little bit different with all of my inventory available instead of taking out the Halloween. So the first thing that we'll see is in the Classics album, it's really easy. You'll see that there's that classic tee that's regular, but then all the Halloween ones are there. But then you'll also see down here that it's generated the name Sloan for $28 because I have 5 Halloween Sloans that were not part of the inventory grouping the first time. And there is no Sloan album in my group. I can click the drop down menu always and change any of this, select a different album. but there isn't anything here because my plan was to put Sloan's into Halloween Kids Styles. And so if I wanted to, I could select that, so that's where they end up. But as you can see, when there's no album that matches, you get a red result. One last thing to show you, if you don't, let me add that filter back real quick. And if you don't put in your album name template as accurately as you could, the interesting thing is that you'll just end up having to work a little harder. So let's say I left out the vertical bar between style and price, and I just said, oh, it's the style and then price format. And when I ask Shop the Road to compute my albums with this formula in the template, what ends up happening is it just misses a lot of them. They aren't perfect matches, so they don't show up. Some of the more lenient style names, like Classic T, it's more lenient so that it'll match without the EE on T as well. Some of those will show up, but most of them won't match. I would have to then go through and click and select all of these. If you ever notice that you just have a lot of red albums in your custom SmartPost, go take another look at the group albums and make sure that you've put in a dash or a vertical bar or whatever it is that separates the information and the name of the album so that it matches best. So hopefully that's helpful about how to do that and the way that works. And the really cool thing is then you can also do the opposite. You can come here after you've posted all of your inventory in the regular albums, get rid of this extra info here real quick, and you'd load up one last time you'd load up your SmartPost page, and you'd load up your custom tab here, and you'd go ahead and say you want the Capsule Halloween to be included. And that means that if something has Halloween, it's part of this group. If the item doesn't have Halloween, it's not included in this group of posting. And then I would also go ahead and add that I want the albums to look like Capsule, and then I want them to look like, let me look at my Halloween albums, show you the formula. Halloween tops price, Halloween kids price. So let me see if I can make it work with, oops, this isn't, sorry, this one. Let me see if I can make it work with Capsule and then type and see if I get what I'm after here. Compute albums. So this is the great thing. I'm kind of experimenting and I can check. Halloween Kids Tops is going to the Halloween Kids Styles album. I preview it. They are, in fact, Kids Sloan's, and that looks exactly right. Halloween Leggings, Halloween one size and tall and curvy leggings. Let's see. That one looks pretty good as well. All one size and tall and curvy leggings. Halloween Tops is going to include, it looks like tunics and tees. So those are my Irmas and my classics. So as you can see, this matched up pretty well. It did find 12 items that didn't know what to do with them. You'll see it says Halloween and then the bracket type is left behind with nothing because these didn't have that attribute at all. And so it didn't know what to do with them. But that's okay. They're all grouped together. It looks like we have some items that are kids and some items that are one size. So what I'm going to do with those is just not post them. And I can go ahead and handle those in manual listings. Maybe make the changes needed so that they'll fall into their correct albums by adding the right attributes to them. So now I have these groupings. I can post to my group with these Halloween things going to the albums that I've designated in my group because they have names that match up with the attributes that I've added to my items, the capsule and the type attributes, which again, I don't know if I can pull this up quickly enough, but they were here in Capsule Halloween type top. So those were some of the ways that I planned ahead for how I wanted to be able to post my items into these Halloween albums. And so hopefully that all makes some amount of sense. And again, if it seems like a lot, the best thing you can do is just experiment a little bit and remember that you get to check your work every time. Every time you compute albums, you'll get new previews here to show you what's going on and make sure that it's exactly as you expect it. And then, as always, I love to encourage folks to use a test Facebook group. That's just, kind of you and a friend or whatever in there, that you can just post your test albums and make sure things go the way you're expecting. The last way I would like to show you to use the attributes to your advantage for capsules is through Shop the Row parties. So that's coming up next.